My G's, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I wanted to make a video comparison between the McLaren Senna and the 720S. Why? Because there seems to be a lot of confusion as to where everything falls in the McLaren lineup and not a lot of people understand it. So let us explain a little bit, show you some differences, and let's just roll with it. Let us start by understanding the McLaren 720S. The McLaren 720S is basically the base of the McLaren Senna. This car was meant to be a GT, a long cruising, super powerful GT. All of the lines in the car really cut smooth if you look at it, especially compared to the Senna, so that there's not a lot of turbulence in the cabin and so that people can enjoy long road trips. That's what the 720S was built for, to be the fastest GT on Earth. It belongs to the Super Series family in McLaren, and the only cars in that Super Series family is this one and the Spider of it. So that's the McLaren 720S. Now let's talk about the Senna. The Senna, no doubt about it, is based on the 720S platform. So it's exactly that car, but with a lot of air and other bits. This car belongs to the Ultimate Series of McLaren. The other cars that belong in that Ultimate Series is the McLaren P1, the Speedtail, and this. So you can tell this is from the hypercar series that McLaren has been producing. What is the purpose of this car compared to the 720S? The 720S is the long cruising GT that's really comfortable. As you can tell, this is cut way more aggressively, which means performance is number one. This car is just meant to be the fastest car on Earth. It's a track car that's also road legal. It's the lightest car that McLaren has ever made. It's the fastest car that McLaren has ever made. That is what the Senna is. The Senna is there for performance, and driving feel, which is incredible in that car. So that is basically the two differences between the 720S. One being a comfortable GT for cruising, and this one being a track murdering machine, which is just abusive and so sexy. And now that we're staring at those Mac asses, let's talk about the engine configuration in these two cars because, yeah, it's the same engine, but it's a different setup of the engine. What do I mean by that? I mean, this car has a V8 twin-turbo engine that produces 720 horsepower, right? And it's incredibly punchy and it's very aggressive. It's not as raw and as insane as this right here. This has the same V8 engine twin turbo, but that produces 800 horsepower. So in here, you're gonna get a lot more horsepower, but a lot less weight. This is McLaren's lightest car ever made. It weighs less than 1,200 kilos dry. That's what McLaren says. We gotta test it out to see if it's true. Well, this one's not supposed to be a lightweight competitor. This is just meant to be a long, comfortable cruiser. And since we're talking about aero and all that beautiful stuff that we're seeing in the cars right here, they both have it. It's a very big part in both cars, but in a very different way. As you can tell by the 720S, very smooth lines. This whole aero exercise is to keep the car completely grounded while you're going fast and to avoid turbulence in the cabin. That's what the smooth lines is giving the car. While this one, we're talking about a whole different monster because there's so many holes in this thing that you don't want to let Bill Cosby around it. I mean, just by looking at the wing and just imagine all the air that it produces, that wing allows the car to be pushed down by 800 kilos of downforce to the ground. That is the major difference about this one and this one. This one doesn't need that. That does, 100%. Let's talk about design differences on the outside because these cars, even though they're very similar and come from this basically, they're nothing alike outside. This car has very smooth lines all around, and as you can tell, it's got a nice, beautiful front that is closed, while all of the sides are basically taking air in. And it comes all the way through the headlights through here, but as you can tell, all of the lines are very, very smooth in the car. No matter where you're looking at it, it doesn't have very aggressive angles where the air is just gonna create turbulence in the cabin. That is the biggest difference about this car and that one. This car was meant for you to go as fast as you can, feel as safe as you can, and have that power be accessible to you. But while you're doing 150 miles per hour on the freeway, this thing is not going to feel like it's going to go to another lane. It's just going to keep you grounded in a smooth way. While this one, you're seeing the lines become completely more aggressive, and there's a lot more lines, and there's a lot more holes, and there's a lot more spoilers, and there's bigger lips, and there's even holes right here. And as you can tell, it follows the same form of the 720S headlight, but now the cuts everywhere are undeniably huge and aggressive. And the reason why is they need to keep this car planted on the ground, but at the same time that it gives you all that turbulence through all these holes, it's gonna give you another thing that comes along with those things. And that is the sensation of being glued to the ground and that connection that the car, the driver, and the ground will have all at once. This is what's so special about this car. This is why it's cut so aggressively. This is the first car ever made, road legal, where this car was designed with a purpose, and that is to go fast and to cut through the air. This is the first car ever built like that, where they didn't really care so much about looks. But the thing is, I know that some of you guys look at this car and say, wow, that's so ugly compared to the regular 720 because of the smooth lines. This is one of the most gorgeous cars I've ever seen in my life, and I couldn't believe that if I didn't have one right here in front of me, because until I saw them in person, I couldn't believe that the design was gonna work. And this is completely insane. So again, it follows function. Everything is all about speed, air, to give you that feeling that you're connected to the road, while this one right here just wants you to feel like you're in control and everything's gonna be fine on your road trip with your Nye. And I think the biggest difference here that everyone's gonna see immediately is just gonna be the interior, because the interior tells you a story right here. This interior is letting me know that it's gonna be comfortable, it's gonna be special at the same time, that I'm gonna be able to drive this car for hours. Great sound system, all Alcantara everywhere, or if you want leather, you can get it everywhere. You have storage back there, you have storage for a drink, you have a cup holder here, cup holder there, you even have more storage right here, and even then you have a trunk on the front, right? So this car is something that you can live with for very long road trips, and it's gonna be delicious and amazing. And I think to show you really the biggest difference right there, let's start with the door. Look at this door from the 720S. That's a standard door in the 720S. And now look at the Senna door, and this tells you everything that this car is all about. There's no panels whatsoever in here. Thank God they left the speaker, and the speakers are pretty good for this car. But this tells you a story right here, along with this one. It really paints a beautiful story about the cars, because the difference is, this is strictly for racing. There's no space on the back for you to put your shit. There's absolutely no cup holders. The only storage place that you're gonna have is this. And if you have anything that's a little bigger than that, you're completely screwed. There's nothing you can do. There's no trunk on the front. There's no trunk on the back, obviously, because that's where the engine is. But this array of carbon fiber, weight savings, the windows, everything about this car screams performance. And that's what this is all about. And it's so incredible that with the same car, they're able to achieve two cars that feel completely different, while at the same time, I know they're family. I want you guys to notice how they're designing perfectly for whatever car they're making, because both cars have done an incredible exercise of getting visibility down to a science and making it extreme for every driver. So if you're sitting in a McLaren 720S, this is what you get to see out of the window, and then out of your front windshield, and then out of your other window, and then back there, the frameless sides are incredible. The visibility in these cars is just insane. In traffic, you're never wondering where other cars are, if there's a motorcycle coming or anything. It's absolutely amazing to be able to look outside and not be blocked by anything in your point of view. This is what this car does. This is a perfect car for the streets. And we're talking about visibility, and in the Senna, they really took care of that too, but in a different way, because again, we talked about this car being a performance-oriented machine, and I want you guys to look at this. These two windows are parted because, number one, if you put the whole glass window here, the weight goes up in the car. Also, you couldn't do what you did here with the door, so that's why you have these two. The visibility through the windows is insane, but now, you can add this one right here. And this is so that whenever you're driving hard and you want to hit a line and you're making sure that you're not stepping over something or getting too close or too far, you can place the car perfectly right here. Obviously, you can see perfectly through the windshield. It's a McLaren windshield, looks gorgeous. And then on the other side, you can see perfectly there and here. But now, there's a massive, massive blind spot right here. And the reason why is because this is not supposed to be in traffic. You're not supposed to be worrying about motorcycles and whoever is gonna get into your lane, or if you're switching lanes. You're supposed to be racing and ahead of everyone. And that's why they have this tiny window where you can look at the engine and also at the people that you've been passing. It's incredible. It's incredible that they do visibility in both cars, perfectly done, but with a purpose for each one of these cars. I mean, fuck. And I remember the first time I looked at the door, I was like, how the fuck are you gonna open it, close it? Where's everything here? Because there's nothing aside from that speaker. And the answer is everything is up here in this car. Even the start stop is right here. The AC, your race mode, because this is just like the P1, you put it in race mode and the car lowers. You have your lock in the car. Also, you have your windows right here, your lights right here, but your doors are right here too. And believe it or not, the 720S has the start-stop right here, and everything for the door is on the door because you have panels on the door instead of just the glass and emptiness. So, there you have it. And the trillion-dollar question about the exhaust, why only 2 instead of 3 tips? And the reason why is because they're saying that they removed the silencer from this car. That means that American spec cars have louder exhaust systems in them. That's what they say. I don't believe shit until I actually go to Europe and test out one of these to see. But there you have it, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video that we did today. I'm going to be making another overview of just the Senna, so anything that you guys really want to see in detail, please let me know below. And if there's anything that I missed talking about these two cars, hit me up with any questions. Have a good one and hope you have a wonderful day, my dudes. Take it easy.